everybody, and welcome back to the HabWrap. I am your host, Terry Rice. You are listening to the friendliest and funniest source for anything and everything related to the Montreal Canadiens. Game 7 of the second round. Winner goes to the Eastern Conference Finals to beat the Carolina Hurricanes. It's Montreal, and it's Buffalo. It's in Buffalo. I don't need to set the stakes. Come on, you guys know what it's about. Let's get right into the lines. Let's get into my notes. Let's do the stats. And then let's get on out of here. The opening lines for the Montreal Canadiens were Caulfield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky, Newhook, Evans, Demidov, Bolduc, Capita, Doc, Texier, Deneau, Anderson. On the blue line, Gooley, Hudson, Matheson, Carrier, and Jack-Eye Dobson. Jakub Debesh, of course, gets the start in net for the Canadiens, and Jacob Fowler is back to being the backup. The opening lines for the Sabres were Benson, Norris, Thompson, Doan, McLeod, Tuck, Zucker, Hellenius, Quinn, Helenus, I know, Greenway, Krebs, and Mellenstein. On the blue line for the Sabres, it's Dahlin, Samuelson, Byram, Power, and Metsa, Timmins. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen gets the start in net again, and Alex Lyon backs him up as he's now lost the net. Before the game, as you might have been able to tell, the only change for the Canadiens is that Veleno is out for Oliver Kapanen. That is right. Cappy, who has played, now 5 games in the playoffs, still with 0 points. So we'll see who gets in for game 1, if it's still him, if it's Veleno, if it's Gallagher, and maybe they move Doc back to the center. Maybe they put Bolduc. I don't know. Maybe Newfie. I doubt it, given things. But we shall see. We shall also see if Buffalo wins this game. Come on, you guys could hear by the smile on my face in the opener. Just what a game. Absolutely insane. You guys probably saw the game. And let's just say there's a couple of reasons why this episode of the podcast is coming out probably an hour later than it usually should. So let's get into it. In the first period, Rob Ray banging the drum for the Sabres. I know they had Pominville one time. I believe it was Brian Gianna, Habs legend, who did it another time. They had a couple guys that I like banging the drum throughout the series for the Sabres. There's an icing 27 seconds in on the Sabres. That actually comes after a good hit by Kapanen. Habs then go offside twice in the opening minute. There's a Carrier shot, pad stopped by UPL. Sabres end up dumping one the other way. Jack-Eye has a shot saved. The rebound, Kapanen almost puts it in. He had a good start to the game. However, as the game went on, he didn't play much. That's all I'm going to say, is that Oliver Kapanen did not play much, and spoiler, very surprisingly, neither did Arbor Jack-Eye. It's Game 7. It was an incredibly short bench for the Montreal Canadiens. We shall see if either of those guys are back in for the first game of the Carolina series. My bet, given that Jack-Eye played, get this, a minute 49, my bet is that one of Struble or Reinbacher are getting the start for game 1. But we'll see. You never know. Carolina's a bit like Tampa. Very rough, not afraid to get physical. Jack-Eye might be a guy who actually ends up playing a lot more in that series than he did in this series, where it was very, very skill-based. A lot of grittiness early on, but as the series went on, became a lot more about the skill, as the playoffs usually do. Kapanen played less than 5 minutes, which is a little bit surprising. I thought, especially here in this opening shift of his, I thought he played good. I'm not entirely surprised. Again, he hasn't played since, I believe it was the 4th game of the Tampa series. It's not a huge surprise that he didn't play much, but I would have thought over the course of the game it would have gotten to about 10 minutes, but no, he got basically half of that, and Marty worked an incredibly short bench especially as we got late into the game. That fourth line, that poor fourth line. I think they were glued to the bench since the start of the third. I'm pretty damn positive about it, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Byram ends up finding Tuck on a near break. There's a puck that ends up in the benches. Habs get to pressing, and they score at 4.5 minutes in. Alex Texier from behind the net off a nice Anderson forecheck. Gets it to Texier behind the net. Finds Goulet at the line. He jumps up a little bit. He takes the shot. Danault with the deflection. And Pizza Boy, the pizza man, pizza time, gets his first goal of the playoffs. Phil Danault scores from Goulet and Texier again, 4.5 minutes in. Sportsnet showed a really good graphic. The longest we had to wait for scoring in this entire series was about 6.5 minutes, and I believe that was game 4 that took 6.5 minutes to get a score in it. You don't have to wait often in this series for the first goal. The next goal, maybe a little while, but the first goal, not long at all. The fans wanted a call for a kick, but they obviously won't get one because there is no kick. Danault, like I said, scores from Goulet and Texier. Sabres press. There's a turnover. Hudson gets a near break, but the wrister from the bottom of the right circle gets saved. UPL then stops a Caulfield chance there. Caulfield had his best game of the series probably, which is strange considering he has, 2 goals? No, 3 goals, because I think he had 1 in the Tampa series. He has 3 goals in the series. I think he might have played his best game in this series tonight. At least at the very least he had the most chances in this series, in this game for sure. He had a good amount in the first and a couple in the second, but we'll talk about it when we get there, as I like to say. Danault ices a puck off of Sabres press. Helenius gets too close to Dobesh as he covers Matheson. Matheson and Suzuki clear him out. Sabres have a press. Habs, though, with some good D to stop any chances for Buffalo. There's a turnover right in front of UPL, but the Sloth backhander is saved. Quinn has speed. There's a good break, but Dobesh makes the save the other way. Habs get some pressure. Goulet has a shot through traffic. That ends up being blocked. Stopped, I should say, by UPL. Back the other way, some more chances for Buffalo. Dobesh saves one, and he holds on the other. Habs get some press. Another good shot for Caulfield. 2 great saves as well as somehow the Sabres leave him alone. Luukkonen gets him on both of those. And right out of that little scrum, well, not scrum, but a little bit of a stick battle, Habs get a power play. Benson ends up panicking. He tries to clear, but ends up sending it right over the glass. 7:26 in. With 7:26 left, Habs get a power play. Like I said, Benson called for delay of game, puck over glass. Habs get a press early. There's a slap shot that gets blocked. Demidov doesn't get one out. Or doesn't get a shot off, I should say. The Canadiens had pressure, but they were very much trying to get extremely picky about what shot they take, which probably isn't the best way to go at it with the Sabres. But regardless, late in the power play, there's a bit of a line change, middle of a line change. We end up scoring. Zachary Bolduc with a huge power play goal. Just an absolute bullet. I've seen like 18 replays. I still don't see that puck enter the net. It's insane how fast that shot was. But, Bolduc, he buries it. The Canadiens get a power play goal. And Bolduc gives the Canadiens a 2-goal lead. Just got to build on it. 1 more goal, and that should be enough, right? We'll see. But, it's a very solid chance there. Bolduc, like I said, gets his 3rd of the playoffs. He scores from Suzuki and Hudson. Suzuki with, I believe, his 12th power play point. Hudson's 5th, probably. But no, it's the Canadiens' top line have had some issues getting 5-on-5 points. I know we had to switch to the ESPN feed like halfway through the game, and at one point they had showed that Suzuki or Slavkovsky and Caulfield, for example, had I believe it was 2 5-on-5 points combined, and I believe it was 13, if I remember correctly, power play points, which is like, oh god, Carolina does not like to go on the penalty kill, so gotta rely on the depth again next round. So yeah, the Habs ice a puck right away. The Canadiens are, by the way, 1-for-1 on the power play tonight. I believe it was the only power play they'd end up having of the night. Sabres end up pushing after the icing. Texier ends up on a break. He tries to fake out UPL. Great pad save by Uples on that one. Sabres then get a 2-on-1 off of a bad pass, but Carrier with a great pass block. Carrier had an okay game. I thought Carrier played a respectable amount of hockey tonight. The Habs have a nice one. Let me try that again. Habs ice one with 3:59 left. Another icing gets called off due to a slow skater, though. Sabres then press. There's a stick in the lane by Bolduc. There's near break at center, but puck luck just not there for him, unfortunately. Gooley with a huge hit on Quinn at the boards. That was probably the most physical thing tonight. A lot of, just typical shoulder to shoulder. Give me that puck, that's mine, type hits. Not a lot of, big thunderous hits like that one by Gooley. Habs ice a puck with 1:46 left. Dahlin looks for a slapper. Hudson prevents that. Good stick there. Greenway ends up running down Newhook. No call on the charging because, of course. Mellenstein gets found offsides. The Sabres, try to get a rush in the final minute. But that'll do it. The Habs with the 2-0 lead after the first period. The shots are 11-9 for the Canadiens as well. In the second period, there's a near break for the Sabres early on, but good D by the Canadiens. The Sabres end up icing one at 51 seconds. There's then an icing called on the Canadiens after the puck hits UPL. Bit weird for the refs to call that. Dobesh makes good saves with the pads. Zucker tries to push the pad in, but no go. Doesn't end up in the net anyways, and Zucker does not get a point. Alex Tuck, I wanted to point out, had a grand total in this series. It's very impressive. He had a grand total 0 points in this series. Alex Newhook. Alex Tuck was kind of the opposite, actually. Was kind of the opposite of Alex Newhook. Very invisible tonight. Just not a good series for Alex Tuck. I say that because for some reason Jason Zucker usually reminds me of Alex Tuck. But yeah, Tuck, not a good Sabre tonight. You gotta think he's played his last hockey in Buffalo, at least wearing the famed goat head. The Sabres weren't wearing the goat head tonight. There were talks that they might be, but they didn't. During a battle along the boards, Carrier, it looks like, gives a high stick to Josh Norris. That is getting called double minor because he is bleeding. And they show us the replay, and no, it's Zach Benson. Benson hits Norris in the mouth with the stick. The refs look at it, and it doesn't take them long, maybe 30 seconds, if that, before they say, Sabres player hits his own man, no penalty. Sabres fans, a couple of them, boo. But they all saw the replay. There's not a lot of booing. They know that's the right call to make. Sabres do get called for an offside, though, as they try to rush. Doan has a shot saved. Bolduc goes back the other way. There's a shot saved, and it looks like Metza suckers Doc after the whistle. Refs obviously don't see it. Slav has a good stick on a wrister. Hudson ends up blocking a shot. The Sabres press 6 minutes in. They go offside on a cycle, though. Sabres press again. Dobesh makes a save. Slav tries to clear. There's an eventual high stick on the puck that gets called. Anderson gets found on a break. He's tripped into the post. There's no call. But on the replay, Andy loses his own footing. What a moron. Hopefully he's okay. Spoiler, I think he was out there 2 shifts later. So definitely one of those just, ow, this really hurts type deals. Dobesh covers after a stick lift on a quick rush. The game's starting to get a little bit chippy. It wouldn't stay that way for very long at all. I think both teams realize, hey, look, this is Game 7. We don't want to do any of that, right now. The game gets, 5-6 nothing. Maybe we might get a little chippy, but at this stage, you don't want to be the team that puts your team shorthanded, obviously. You don't want to be the guy who does that. Dobeš ends up covering. I already got to that note. Gulli and Helenus bump into each other behind Dobeš. Caulfield has a shot gloved by Upels. Dobeš with a pair of saves on the fourth line. Mellenstein particularly was looking good here. Good save on Mellenstein, speaking of. Matheson nearly gives one away in the slot. Sabres would eventually press, but not much for them at this stage. Habs are good at shutting them down early. And then some more pressure. Sabres keep it going. Habs just not able to clear. And eventually, they end up scoring. Matthias Samuelsson shoots it. It's off Anderson, and it's in the net. And on the replay, it shows it actually goes off of Jordan Greenway's pants. Greenway gets the goal, his second of the playoffs, second of the series. He scores from Samuelsson and Mellenstein. Hey, we were just talking about him. And it's all of a sudden 2-1. Dobeš had no chance. There were, I think, 7 guys that were right in front of him. Dobeš doesn't even react until it's already in the net. He had 0 chance to make the save. He had no way of seeing that puck. Yeah. The Sabres get right back to pushing. I assumed they were going to tie the game soon. We'll see. They get a rush after Dahlin flops on a possible hook. Caulfield goes back the other way. It's a 2-on-1, but the shot by Caulfield is saved. This is 2-on-1 back the other way. Eventually, Quinn finds Helenus, but the puck bounces over his stick. Slav has a sharp angle shot saved. Hudson with a shot, but that's tipped and saved as well. McLeod gets on a partial break. Dobeš makes the save. Slav and Bolduc with a little bit of shoving on McLeod after the whistle. Dobeš then robs Tage Thompson on the cross crease. The rebound, it's off Carrier. Everybody's battling in front. Dobeš almost jumps to cover the puck and hold it. Dobeš was able to see the puck there, thankfully, because this could have been a tie game very, very quickly. There's a pad stop on Thompson by Dobeš with just seconds left, and the Habs get the clear. Speaking of whom, the Canadiens hold the 2-1 lead after 40 minutes. Shots are 22-18 for the Sabres. In the third period, the Sabres do press early, and at 2 minutes, they get a power play. Deneau is called for a high stick. That sucks. Sabres do nothing. I think they got 2 shots, but they weren't great opportunities. The Habs are just able to clear. They are 1-for-1 on the penalty kill tonight. The power kill, as you could call it. That would be a good name for it if it wasn't penalty kill. The Habs have a nice ice one at 5 minutes after a chance from the Sabres. They get a rush and a little bit of cycling. Demidov with some looks after Matheson hits the bar. Dobeš goes the other way, and he gets run by Zucker. Suzuki goes right after him. Good on the captain. Zucker makes no attempt to avoid him, which naturally means there's no penalty. Yeah, Zucker doesn't get called for clear goalie interference. Just pathetic. Speaking of pathetic, in the last 16 minutes of gameplay, I didn't realize this, but the Canadiens had 1 shot. They had 7 in the second period. I want to say it was the final 10 minutes they had maybe 1 shot, and in the third, up to this point, obviously they had 0 shots at about 5-ish minutes in. Just the Canadiens almost kind of stumbling over themselves. It feels like they really are getting hemmed in, and this is where the Sabres really start to take over the game. They did in the second half of the second. But you could just assume that was, they're just pressuring, But Marty goes in the room. I don't know what he said in the second period, but it did not work. Third period, they come out. Sabres were so much better. Speaking of better, the Sabres tie it up, unfortunately. Dahlin, his trash ass, makes it a 2-2 tie game. And I wrote, quote, "This series is over." Yeah, Dahlin just scores on a really funky play. Again, it's off a draw. It's off a 1 face-off. The Canadiens, I think they were okay at winning face-offs tonight. They didn't have the lead, but I mean, it was better than I think it was 37% we had won in Game 6. It was like, Jesus, so much worse than we were. But yeah, it's It's just off of one draw, horrible defensive coverage. I don't care if we win the cup. I don't care if we're swept by Carolina, win in 7, whatever happens. Stefan Robidas cannot come back as this team's defensive head coach next year. So many goals are scored because they're just a horrible defensive coverage. Half of them are Mike Matheson, being generous, but half of them are Mike Matheson, but so many of them are just, in general, bad defensive coverage. Again, Dahlin, he scores from Power and McLeod off the draw at 6:27. And we're tied, just like that. There's a slap shot that goes off the bar and out of play. Habs needed some type of momentum, but at 8 minutes, these shots are 5-0 Sabres. Sabres fans then want to call on a clean hit behind Dobesh. There's a Caulfield shot held by UPL off a cycle. Sabres go back the other way. They press, and they end up taking the lead. No, they don't. Ref Wes McCauley at the side of the net sees it perfectly. It looks like Dobesh holds it. He blows the whistle. It squeaks loose, and the Sabres put it home. They think they have the lead, but just like Nashville against Pittsburgh in 2017, Fleury has the puck, and it's poked loose. It ends up getting put home after the whistle. Perfect call, no goal. We remain tied. Habs get a lucky break there. Sabres ice woman, 9:47 left. Yeah, by the way, I did not have a ton of notes for this third. I was very much just watching and just dreading what I assumed was going to be coming next. So the Sabres ice went to 9:47. There's a hell of a new shot saved. The Habs push. They don't find anything. UPL ends up covering with Demidov in front. Both teams were already getting set up for OT, basically. Dahlin has a shot saved by Dobesh. That follows a very, very lucky non-call on Montreal for too many men. Deneau tries to find someone in front as well right beforehand. Dahlin breaks a stick on a wrister. Sabres keep the pressure going. Habs try to rush, but it gets broken up with 4 minutes left. Acceptance was starting to fall upon me. Yeah, about that. Anderson gets on a clean break off a clear, and he misses. That time he's legitimately tripped up, but there's no call. I didn't expect there to be anyways. I didn't expect there to be a fucking goal there anyways. The Habs press for a second. They end up icing a puck in the final minute. Good D stops any of those chances. Yeah. So, the shots are... sorry. The shots are 33-22 for the Buffalo Sabres as we are headed into overtime, which means, firstly, oh god, we have to lose a Game 7 overtime to end this series, and secondly, oh god, my stress levels because we are entering overtime even though I know we're going to lose. In said overtime, there's a bad turnover by the Habs, but the Benson shot is saved. Habs then get called for an offside at 2 minutes in. Matheson tries to play superstar. It obviously gets turned over. Habs do pressure after a battle. There's a Sabre that loses their stick, so naturally Matheson shoots it right into the guy's shin, which means that the puck comes out of play. Mike Matheson, wonderful defenseman. Sabres have an icing at 4:38. They then press after a Suzuki turnover. Dobesh makes another save. Thompson's stick breaks on a D play. The Habs nearly get a 3-on-2. Anderson has a shot saved. There's another Andy chance stopped as the Habs start to get some momentum. Matheson tries to dangle during a line change. It leads to a 2-on-1 for the Sabres. Dobesh makes a good save on Thompson. Dobesh is without his stick. There's a shot off a man and out. The Canadiens get a very lucky quick stoppage as that could have gone very bad for them. Sabres end up dumping one off the glass. Not out, but just dump it off the glass, or using the glass, I should say. Sabres ice one at 8:18 after a brief zone time for the Canadiens. And again, at 8:26. Habs do look for a shot, nothing there. Sabres barely avoid another icing. Demidov has a shot blocked off some pressure. Habs ice one with 9:08 left. They do get lucky as the first whistle after the half means that the shovels come out to clean the ice. There's a Dahlin slapper saved and held. Montreal can get a shot if need be, which they do elect to take. Thompson has a shot then held again. So it's another one, the third straight face-off to the left, at to the right of Dobesh. It ends up coming to the blue line. Dahlin has it, but he ends up losing it. Canadiens press the other way. Newhook gets on a nice rush. He takes the shot, and Alex Newhook, 7th in the playoffs. Alex Newhook ends it. They end the Sabres Cinderella run. I don't know what the hell I was about to say. Alex Newhook sends the Montreal Canadiens to the Eastern Conference Finals. Alex Newhook, to quote my exact notes, quote, we score. Holy fuck. Newhook on a sudden rush. Shot takes it. He scores. Montreal wins in overtime. They're going to Carolina. Holy fucking shit. I can't believe it. Newhook with both Game 7 game winners. So yeah, Newhook with both game-winning goals for the Canadiens in Game 7. It's a piss missile, basically. UPL absolutely should have had that. It's crazy how he was so good for most of the shots that he had to face. The 3 difficult ones, especially in the first period. And then he allows a shot like that to go in. Kind of crazy that that's what happens. But, I mean, hey, you know what they say. You take a shot on that, you never know what's going to go in. And Newhook does there. He scores. Carrier with the lone assist. It's only fitting that the series ends on a Rasmus Dahlin turnover. What a joke of a defenseman. Canadiens win in overtime 3-2. The final shots 39-25 for the Buffalo Sabres. Canadiens outshot the Sabres in the first 11-9. Sabres came out in the second, outshot them 14-7, and then in the third 10-4, and then in overtime 6-3. That's how they build up the shots. The Canadiens come away with the much needed victory in Game 7 after choking Game 6, after nearly choking Game 7. The Montreal Canadiens go on to Carolina in the Eastern Conference Finals. I can't believe it. Believe you me. Just absolutely over the moon about this. I'm sure you guys can imagine. I'm sure everybody watching at home was so excited when the series ended. Newhook's shot goes in. There are, of course, some things to still complain about. Firstly, defensive coverage really needs to be better than it has been. They need to clean that up. They need to clear front of the net a lot more often. If Dobesh can see a shot, 99 out of 100, it feels like he'll save. Speaking of, he's, 63 for 66 in Game 7s so far? Dobesh is fantastic in clutch games. Carey Price 2.0, it's quite possible. But yeah, there's a couple things the Canadiens absolutely need to clean up on. I imagine Marty's going to go over that with them tomorrow in the video room, or Monday, we are Monday, maybe Wednesday, I don't know, maybe Tuesday's the look over the footage day, and Wednesday is a let's study Carolina, see where we can exploit them type day, I should say. But either way, we shall see. The Canadiens take this series in 7. It's so funny because I was ready. You guys heard it in my notes. Acceptance was starting to settle in with about 5 minutes left in the game. What I thought was going to be the game. But 5 minutes left in the third. I was ready to shave the beard. I was ready to put my fucking tripod in the bathroom, set up my camera, film me shaving, and just post that with some music over it or something. I was ready. And then Alex Newhook said, I don't want to see that. Not yet, at least. Yeah, so we're going to Carolina. We're going to another best of 7. There's a good chance that I don't come up for one of those games because I'm fucking dead because I've had a heart attack. Knowing the way that these guys play, years have been taken off my already probably short life. Yeah, the Canadiens take this one just insane. I'm so happy. I couldn't think of a team that deserves a run like this more than Montreal. After the rebuild that they've had to suffer through, the disastrous 21-22 season after that Cup Finals run. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be like that 2021 third round where everybody assumes Vegas is going to destroy us and we somehow pull off the upset. I don't know if this is just going to be another Hurricanes destruction. I just want to win one game. If we have to lose the series, I just want to win one game, preferably a game in Montreal, because I need to hear how loud that building gets if we win. But I just want to win one game. Anything more than that is gravy. This team is so young still, and they're learning. This is such good experience for them. I don't want to say they remind me of the 2009 Chicago Blackhawks. But they do in the sense that the pattern of the 2009 Hawks go to the conference finals. They get destroyed, I believe, by the Red Wings, who then go on to win the Cup, which we all know that's not happening. Colorado's destroying Carolina in the finals, but they lose in the conference finals, and then the next year they win the Stanley Cup. They trounced their way to their first cup in, 50 years, 53 years, something like that. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I'd love if we could be, that type of team, especially with how Chicago won 3 cups in 6 years. I'll gladly take that, but, we'll see if we are the 2009 Chicago Blackhawks. We'll see if we're not going to be the case, but if we're the 2003 Minnesota Wild, I don't think so. We'll see if we're the Detroit Red Wings of the early 90s, where we just couldn't get over the hump. That's not going to be the case either. But, of course, that's why they play the games. That's why we don't just talk about the scenarios and then move on. That's why we watch the games. Thursday will be Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, the Eastern Conference Finals. 8 p.m. start time, weirdly enough, for Game 1. Then it is Saturday, May 23rd. Game 2 is another 7 start, weirdly enough. Monday on the 25th is an 8 p.m. start. And Wednesday the 27th is also an 8 p.m. start. And should the series go at least 5, on May 29th, the Friday, it is an 8 p.m. start. So all of them except Game 2 are 8 starts. Not a huge fan of that, but I guess it kind of makes sense. And then for some reason, Game 6 doesn't have a time yet, but Game 7 would also be an 8 p.m. start should we go that far. So yeah, Canadiens go on to Carolina. I keep having to say this because I can't believe it, 2021 was... See, 2021 was completely different because we swept Winnipeg. That series was never in doubt. There were so many ups and downs in this series against the Sabres that for a long while it kind of was in doubt, Game 6, all throughout, it was like, oh god, this is the worst time for the Canadiens to collapse. This is not the way they should be going out. And, and then we come out, we go up to a 2-0 lead, and it's like, all right, this is a comfortable lead. If we can get one more, that should be able to shut them down. They're not going to score 4 on Dobesh, barring a complete meltdown from the blue line. We can't build on it. They come back. We take it in probably the best way possible, other than a Game 6 overtime winner. Shout out Arturi Lehkonen. But just so many ups and downs. Losing Game 1, winning 2 and 3, losing Game 4, winning Game 5. It's just so many ups and downs that were just like, okay, how's this series going to go? And nobody could really predict it. Nobody could really predict the series, I feel like, going the way that it did and how crazy it was. Every single goalie getting in Game 6. Just Newhook with the winner, man. Just insane. I know I'm rambling for a minute, but just I want to try and get some thoughts out here. It was a great series. GG's to all the Sabres fans that might be watching. I don't think there are any watching, aside from the boy Chev Camaro. But to any Sabres fans watching, legitimate GGs. This might have been the series of the playoffs. It might have been. For sure, Montreal, Buffalo, and Montreal, Boston, Montreal, Tampa, are 1 and 2 in some order. Fantastic series for the Canadiens so far. We'll see if round 3 ends up being more of the same, if it's a complete destruction one way or the other, if it's an incredibly boring series where the games end with the shots like 15-13, which that'd probably be the worst case scenario. I would rather get destroyed than have each game end with those shots, because my god, that would just be so damn boring. I would legitimately probably fall asleep during one of those games. But yeah, Canadiens are going to the Eastern Conference Finals, boys. I'm fucking ecstatic. I'm sure the rest of the Canadiens fan base is as well. I gotta go look on Twitter. I gotta see some videos of people celebrating in Montreal, because I'd imagine Bell Center was rocking tonight. I don't think we got audio feed, but I know they showed it a couple times on both the Sportsnet and the ESPN feed, that the Bell Center was fucking rocking it as the away team. I know that the Videotron Center, I don't think they had cameras installed for it, but the Videotron Center, I believe, was also doing a watch party for the Canadiens game. Of course, outside the Bell Center, you gotta imagine they did the thing with the big TVs probably as well. Yeah, just, shout out the Sabres. They had a great season. They played their damn hearts out in this series. They really wanted it. If it wasn't Montreal, I would have wanted Buffalo to go on and, avenge 06, just hopefully without the blue line injuries that the Sabres had that year, down to fucking Rory Fitzpatrick, baby. All-star Rory Fitzpatrick. Don't you ever forget it. I'm so happy that it's the Canadiens. I get to do some more of these. God, I'm so happy right now. Either way, that obviously I would have been upset if Montreal lost. But give it a day or two, and I would have said, all right, if it's Buffalo, whatever, it's Buffalo. But Montreal, they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. We get some more of these. We get some more HabWrap. The HabWrap should be returning next season. If it's this much of a good luck charm to the Canadiens, which it very well could be. They did not go to the conference finals in 22, 23, 24, or 25 because I wasn't making the HabWrap. 1 year of the HabWrap, 1 year of Eastern Conference Finals. Just think about it, boys. So yeah, I think it's time we head out of here. I gotta go get drunk. Apparently I already am drunk. What the hell am I saying? I gotta go get drunk. I'm gonna go have a little bit of a party and watch some more Dexter. Please no spoils in the comments. For those of you wondering, we're on season 6, right around the season 6, episode 6. So please no spoils. In case anybody's wondering, Dexter's a great show. I'm really enjoying it so far. A lot of goofy moments, but it's definitely a dramedy. I can tell it is slowly getting on its downswing, but I still think season 7 and season 8 I'm going to enjoy. So yeah, Canadiens with the win. It's going to be tough for, I think, most people to sleep that are Canadiens fans tonight. So filled with energy, so just fucking ecstatic. I'm so happy for the boys in Bleu Blanc et Rouge. Hell fucking yeah, boys. Let's go. Let's do the stats. Firstly, I completely forgot. I've been rambling. I haven't even done the stats. My apologies. We're going to do the stats, and then we're going to get on out of here. Lane Hutson leads the Montreal Canadiens with 2 goals, 12 assists for 14 points. Nick Suzuki, Le Capitão, 4 goals and 9 assists for 13 points. Alex Newhook, 7 goals to lead the Canadiens, 2 assists for 9 points. Newfie, I forgot to mention, I'm so glad I remembered when I was doing his stat, starting to really pin himself up as a Montreal Canadiens playoff legend. 2 Game 7 winners in the same series. Newhook could be a -7 in the Carolina series, and fans would still love him because of these 2 overtime winners. These 2 Game 7 winners. My apologies. But yeah, Newhook, he's shown up for these playoffs. he looks fantastic. I'm so happy that Newfie, off of that injury that he suffered, that crazy ankle injury. Jesus, I still don't want to go back and watch that. Just insane how good he's been in the playoffs. Shout out Alex Newhook, man. Hopefully he keeps up in the conference finals. I'd love for him to get to 10 goals. That would be fucking awesome to see that happen. Yuri Slafkovsky and Cole Caulfield each have 4 goals, 5 assists for 9 points. Jake Evans, 2 goals, 6 assists for 8 points. Alex Texier and Zach Bolduc each with 3 goals, 4 assists for 7 points. Ivan Demidov with 2 goals, 5 assists for 7 points. Philippe Danault with a goal and 5 assists for 6 points. Caden Gooley with 6 assists. Kirby Doc, 4 goals and an assist for 5 points. Josh Anderson, 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points. Alex Carrier with a goal and 4 assists for 5 points. Mike Matheson with a goal and 2 assists for 3 points. Arbor Jacki with a goal and an assist for 2 points. Brendan Gallagher with a goal. Noah Dobson and Joe Veleno each with an assist. And Yuri Slafkovsky still the only Montreal Canadian with a fight, because who else would be leading the team in fights? Jakub Dobeš in net for the Canadiens has an 8-6 record. I'm going to start abbreviating that. 8-4-2. I mean, OT losses don't matter in the playoffs, so it's all just losses. So Jakub Dobeš has, again, an 8-6 record, a 2.52 goals against average, and a 9.10 save percentage. Jacob Fowler with an 0-0 record, a 7.16 goals against average, and a 500 save percentage. Again, poor Jakub Dobeš. Jacob Fowler. Poor Jakub Dobeš, man, for having to play in front of this defense. Again, that does it for this episode of the HabWrap. Thank you all so much for watching. We will see you, realistically, probably Friday morning, technically. But we will see you Thursday for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. I can't wait. I'm so pumped up. We're going to see how that goes. We'll see if Carolina's rusty. I'm really damn interested to see how a team with 2 weeks off plays the way that the Hurricanes might. We'll see if they come out strong, if resting that much really helps them or not. But again, that's going to do it for this episode of HabWrap. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Hit the follow button if you are on Spotify, Amazon, wherever you might be listening to the podcast on. And please do not forget to share the podcast with anybody who you think might enjoy it, such as a fellow Montreal Canadiens fan, a hockey fan who's maybe looking for a Canadiens podcast, or someone who you think just might enjoy listening to some fat kid talk about the Montreal Canadiens for 30 to 40 minutes after every game. That is, again, going to do it for this episode of the HabWrap. Thank you all so much for watching. For the first time, I will plug as well, if you're on YouTube, check out the links in the description. We have my Discord where I send notifications after every video. Just check out the links, please and thank you. Again, that is going to do it for this episode of the HabWrap. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Harry Rice, and always remember, no matter how good we looked last year, how pretty damn good we look this year, or how fantastic we're going to be in the future, go Habs go, Allez Montreal, and say with me, everybody, c'est la boo!